you said you got in an accident that almost killed you. I'm so sorry to hear that. Did you have any experiences? I know because sometimes people have these accidents, right? And they call them near-death experiences, and they're out for a minute and they're on the other side and they're having their conversations. Did any of that happen to you in this accident?
Absolutely. Yes, it did.
Do you mind sharing and going into detail of how that went?
Sure. So just kind of give you a little bit of background. 2018, I woke up one morning with a massive headache out of nowhere, and went to doctor after doctor and begging them to, something's wrong in my head. I just can't figure it out. Something's wrong. And they didn't take me seriously, and they just basically diagnosed me with anxiety. And I said, no, something's not right. And then one night, I woke up out of a dead sleep, and my dad, who is passed over, and he's one of my major spirit guides, said, I hear his voice very loud, get an MRI now. And so I went back to the doctor, and come to find out, I had a brain bleed, I had a stroke, and a odd brain tumor in the deep part of my brain next to my pineal, which controls your third eye. So I'm like, this is crazy. And so, going to the brain doctor and all that stuff, he says, it's, you can operate it, but you might have worse symptoms. It's really deep in your brain. It's not advisable. Your body will do its job. Everything is okay. I mean, it's contained. The bleed is contained. It's in the middle of your brain, even though it was causing horrendous symptoms. It's contained, and let's wait and watch. And I said, have you ever seen this brain tumor shrink before? And he said, absolutely not. And I said, we've never met me before. And he says, okay. He says, what does that mean? I said, I'm going to shrink it. I believe in my body. I believe in spirit. I believe that this is possible. And I don't want to have brain surgery. I want this is just how it's got to be. And, the turning point for me during that time, and this is going to lead into the accident, the turning point at that time is when I sat in the living room with my husband and my 4 kids, and I was explaining to him what to do if I die, because I thought I was going to die. And we had decided during that talk, because I have a 23-year-old son, a 16-year-old daughter, a 16-year-old stepson, and a 14-year-old stepdaughter. And they said to me, especially my oldest, because he's been, around me longer, he says, this is not going to happen. We're going to heal this. And so we had just decided that at that moment, that no matter what, in our house, we were going to talk about this brain tumor as if it's already healed. And so I began to study the brain and began to study people who have healed themselves. And so I do that. And then I was shown a deep meditation from my dad. And it was just a beautiful meditation where I realized that my medical doctor didn't want to go in and do brain surgery because of the risk. And I thought, there are still medical doctors on the other side that want to practice on us, that still can help us. And so in the meditation, I was given I call him my spirit doctor. And he would in my meditation and kind of like carve away a tumor. And I even asked in meditation one time, I said, can't you just take it all out? Take it. And he says, no, your body went into shock. We have to do this gradually. And so over the course of a year, every time I go back to the brain doctor, he'd take a scan, and I have pictures of it, and it just, tumor kept shrinking and the brain went away. And he just said, the last time I went to him before the accident, he says, it's just nothing but a miracle. I don't know. It's just, I can't explain it. Just keep doing what you're doing. And so at that point, he says, you're good to go. Go live your life. Go. And I was like, okay. And so I was beginning to do that. And then I was coming home from a meeting with a girl. We were going to start a podcast together. And I was coming home, and I was going 55, driving home. I was a mile away from my house. I was coming up to there's a side road out in the boonies. So these are, back roads. And I'm driving 55, having the right of way. And I see man, at the time I didn't know him, but this truck stopped at the stop sign on the side road. And I said, okay. In my head, I thought, whatever, I got the right of way. And so I kept going. And then all of a sudden he pulls out and stops again in the middle of the road. And I just thought, you're right, Crystal. This is it. This is how you're going to go. And I went, number one, I got upset because I'm like, you're taking me out, like, seriously? Really? This is how I'm leaving this world? This is not right. I've just gone through. And so it was an older truck that I was driving, didn't have an airbag. So I pushed back on the steering wheel and I just said, God help me. And I called out to my dad. I said, I don't want to die. And so I kept my eyes open, and I have still to this day don't understand why I did that. Maybe I thought that, to me, it was like being in a beat, like, this is just not real. And I pushed the brake pedal as hard as I could, and I pushed back and then hit, and everything went black. The next thing I know, I felt really far away from my body. So far, like, just like really far, like not in my body. And then there's pitch black darkness. And I look to the right, like up in the sky, kind of like if you're looking up, and I see a white light. And at first I was confused because the light was blinking. So I wasn't sure, like, is this like what's going on here? Later on, come to find out what was there was spirit walking back and forth past this light, kind of like waiting. And
okay.
So I look and I go, I instantly knew I needed to go there to the light. I felt the best I had ever felt in my entire life. I felt comfort. I felt there was no fear, and I just wanted to go. And all of a sudden, I hear this woman's voice, and she's talking to me. And I'm like, where's woman's voice coming from? And then I hear a man's voice about it. And he says to me, you have to go back. And I said, no, I don't want to go back. And he says, you have to. Still have work to do. Your body alive. You have to go back. And I said, it's going to hurt. It's going to be okay. You'll be okay. And at that point, I didn't even have a choice. I was just abruptly put into my body. And I, like, when I opened my physical eyes, I couldn't see. Like, there's blood dripping down. My head had hit the steering wheel. That's what the scar's from. I hit the steering wheel. I couldn't see clear. I could barely talk. And come to find out, the woman's voice was a witness that had stopped, got out of her vehicle, got into the vehicle with me, and was holding my head and talking to me. And
wow.
I've already, I've reached out to her, we've talked, and I've thanked her so much, because honestly, I don't know if I'd be here if she didn't talk to me. And at that just started, it's like literally in slow motion until I got to the hospital.